Hi, Mark here. Friday, April the 17th, 9:24 a.m. Eastern, 1:24 p.m. GMT. US session now well underway and going into the afternoon portion of the European session. Let's have a look at the US dollar. And you can see a strong sell-off again today. This downtrend picked up momentum today, leveled off a little bit the last couple of days, but certainly lower highs, lower lows, and downtrend really looking strong on the last day of the trading week. I've got support at 97.41. I've got resistance at 98.13. We'll see whether this does continue through the US session or if we're going to get a bounce back. US dollar buyers step in, bounce up off this support level and look back up at the 98. But certainly weak US dollar and US dollar being sold off into as the US session does pick up steam. Let's have a look at the majors. There you see the euro strengthening against a weak US dollar. I've got support at 117.73. I've got resistance at 118.51. Buyers looking up at this resistance level, see if they can break that level and look up to the 119 on the upside. A turnaround from weak to strong US dollar would see sellers step in at around this level and look back down below 118. Pound against the US. There again, you see pound strengthening against a weak US dollar this morning. I've got support at 135.06. I've got resistance 135.94. Tough resistance level, has tested and hung around this level the whole of the week, but unable to break higher. We'll see whether buyers continue with demand for pound against the US. US dollar weakens, and this can move higher, or if we get a turnaround at these levels from weak to strong US dollar, sellers of pound, buyers of US step in and look back down to the 135 support level. US dollar against the yen. Again, weak US dollar we're seeing here. There's the red candlestick selling US, buying yen. I've got resistance at 159.54 and I've got support at 158.16. See if sellers continue with what they've started, selling US, buying yen, if the yen can continue to strengthen against a weak US dollar, or if US dollar buyers step in, like we've seen here previously through March. Buyers step in and around this area, around this level, and look to get back to the 159 or higher. And then the US against the Canadian, no doubt we'll be seeing again weak US dollar, absolutely, and strong Canadian, a very strong trend. Started up here at 139.41 beginning of April, and you can see the succession of lower highs, lower lows, very strong push lower, selling US dollar, buying Canadian. I've got resistance at 137.04. I've got support at 136.46. We'll see whether this can continue. The US dollar weakening against the Canadian, selling US, buying Canadian, or if we get a bounce up, turn around at this area around the 136.46 and US dollar buyers step in, bounce up off the support and look back up towards the 137 on the upside. So definitely US dollar struggling this morning, being sold off on the index, being sold off against all the majors, and right now testing relevant resistance support levels. We'll see whether the US dollar weakness does continue, hang around at these levels like we're seeing, or if we're going to see a turnaround from weak to strong US dollar and a bounce up off those levels into the once we get further into the US session. Good trading, and I'll see you at the end of day.